peacetime sort of era, or for the Cold War era, they also used to never have lunch without a proper drink. Here are some more kudos. Oh, I've parked you beautifully, haven't I? I just saw that she was going to disappear. It's such a little breath of coolth here amongst the Tambuti Grove. This is a different group of kudus, everyone. Ooh, ooh, ooh. They've spotted a predator. What is the predator? Is it a leopard? It must be. Can I get in here? Yes, yes, yes. Got the message. Can you hear their wonderful alarm call? It's leopard. Ha ha ha. It looks like the Queen to me. You got it there, Dave. I'm going to try and go round. Yeah. Thank you, kudus. We appreciate your help immensely. That's fantastic. Thanks, guys. I think it's Thandi. There she is. She's moving with the same sort of stealth one would expect from the Queen. I'm not sure how good our view is going to be from here, but we should be able to get her going past. There she is. It is the Queen. Is it? Hello, madam. How are you? It's been so long since we spoke. All right, kudu, that's enough. Yes, the Queen would definitely have scones and tea round about now, David. Can't imagine the Queen saying, "Oh, do you think I could have a whiskey and soda?" Certainly not at 5 o'clock. Maybe at 6. And I'll need to call this in on the radio. Station's located Thandi on the fire break about 200 meters to the west of the hyena den. Animal is static in the drainage. Room probably for 2 vehicles in here. It's a really loud noise, isn't it? She's looking relatively cheerful today, David. She hasn't growled at us once. And you're all very excited to see the Queen, as am I. I haven't seen her for a long time. Now she's moving because of the sound of those kudus, and they're giving away her presence, of course, which she doesn't want. It's the leopard's ultimate sort of dislike. Nikki says she looks a bit down and ungroomed. I feel like she always looks a little bit like that. Darby, let me try and get in there. So she's just lying down behind that bush, that log, in order to be invisible to the kudu. How's that, David?
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Rockland. You're wondering how it is that I don't feel threatened by the wild animals that we interact with. Well, it's mainly because the wild animals that we interact with don't feel threatened by us, and so they don't behave in an aggressive fashion. This leopardess particularly can make one feel extremely threatened from time to time, because what she does is that she can be fairly intolerant of human voices and movement, and she can be quite growly. The kudus are coming to have a look and see, but if you keep your distance and you don't threaten the animals here, they generally become used to us quite quickly, and they don't see us as something to eat. So this kudu is now trying to find where Thandi's gone. I think she's eaten something. Her belly is panting, and she was just kind of licking her face a little bit earlier. There's no blood there. And Nikki just kind of asking how how much of a threat a leopard this size could be to an adult female kudu. The answer is yes, she could in theory kill one. We've seen that before, but it would be highly unlikely. And it's why the kudu will get close to her, relatively close, and rather than just run away. You know, some of them have started eating again quite comfortably. 2 or 3 are watching her. They're not alarm calling anymore. But she's a predator, and they know her as a predator, and they know that she can kill certainly calves. But most of them are now feeding again. And now she's going to sleep. Ah, Joy, I think it's a very nice way of putting it. So she's not ungroomed, she's just casual. She's quite casual. She's also quite fluffy. I wonder if she hasn't sort of grown a slightly longer winter coat than most. She's certainly got a luxuriant pelt of fur on her belly, always has had. Very royal. It's quite a full-looking belly, I must say. It was very nice of those kudus to find her for us. I think she's looking pretty good. Pretty good, Nick. Magnificent animal. I would just once like one of her family to come up to the side of the door and allow me to scratch them behind the ears. Just once. To say thanks for it all, you know. Right, we're not going to leave here anytime soon. We'll go off to Trishala and see if she can find something in the rapidly goldening light of the afternoon. On here, as you can see, Thandi is lying down. She's moved very slightly. Doesn't seem to be enormously keen on doing a great deal this afternoon. As David was saying, he was rather hoping she'd take it upon herself to go and lie in the golden light. But no such luck. Oh, he's going to do some fly biting now. The kudu have moved off. Yes, Ellie Belly, we saw Tlalamba yesterday, interestingly. Tristan found her, and she was around the northern side of the property. So, yeah, she's around, she's fine. She's looking well. She's an interesting one, that. I think that she actually hides from us intentionally. I think she finds it a bit of a game. Tristan was just describing her behavior yesterday and how she kind of very obviously hid from him and then didn't try and get away from him once she'd been found. Whereas if if you think of her, what did we call him? Her Uncle Hosanna. He doesn't behave like that at all when he's here. What amusing watching her snapping at the flies. What are you laughing at, David? Did you catch me? Is that what you did? You think that was funny, did you? David's not funny, everybody. He's going to have a black eye at the end of this drive. Sorry, what was that question there, Nicola? I missed the question. Oh, no, this ain't a young cat. She's pushing 13 now, is our Thandi. So no, not young at all. David, I mean, what possessed you to do something so mean? All in jest, was it? I've forgotten her birthday, so I'm just going to check it up for you, Wes. Because if I don't give you her exact birthday, once again, I will be berated from a dizzy height on Twitter. Sometimes the beratings are worthwhile, and sometimes you think to yourself, gee whiz, that's a bit harsh. Phew. Right. I'll find it for you now. What are you, David? You said, yeah. What does that mean? You're a weirdo. Right, she was born on somewhere around November, December in the year 2006, which means that she's about to turn 13. Sitting on my wires. I'm having to turn around because David is going to catch me again, doing things I shouldn't be. Right. Things come off. It's all a disaster. David! Sorry. Banana milk, leopards will breed until the day they die, just about, in theory. I mean, obviously, when they die, if they die of old age, they'll be very uncomfortable and probably, losing muscle mass, and so they wouldn't breed then. But in theory, if they're well fed, they can breed until they die. And also, in theory, I mean, a leopard like this could live to 15 to 17 years, maybe even older. She was very lucky. Her grandmother lived to about 18, we think. So she could do well. I mean, she has done well, but she could do even better. So although she doesn't look very young to those of us who've seen quite a few leopards, she certainly has got at least another litter in her. Air Raid Commander. Is she eating flies for extra protein? No, I don't think so. I think she's eating flies because they're irritating her in the same way that your dog would snap at flies or your cat would go inside and swat at flies. I don't think she's thinking about her nutritional needs. I mean, it is a great pity that she hasn't taken it upon herself to go into this gorgeous light, which is now fading. See if I can find a few more snippets I may have forgotten. Yes, Cobra Khan. Leopards, most certainly, like many other animals, will look for shelter in a very heavy rainstorm. And if it continues to rain, well, then eventually they'll have to go out and move about, and sometimes they use the rain as cover. But often, if they're not hunting, then they will go into some thick bush and try and get out of the worst of the rain. It is not raining currently, and so she's lying out in the open. You've noticed that, David?
Yes.
There's no water falling out of the sky. And just to remind you, as much as well, more to remind myself, she's got the following surviving offspring as far as we know. Bahuti, born late 2012, not seen in the Sabi-Stan since November 2015. Guchava, who we do know very well, born August-September 2014. Tamba, born July 2016, already a territorial male in the salubrious accommodations of Singita down on the Sand River. And then Tlalamba, who was born mid-November 2017, approaching her second birthday she is now. So, she's got at least 3 remaining offspring. And Tamba is now, as Nikki's reminding me, missing a chunk out of his ear. That he is. I'm surprised he's not missing more, given that as a, well, he's just turned 3, hasn't he? As a 3-year-old, to have taken a territory where he has, in quite possibly the most famous, most desired leopard neighborhood on planet Earth. I'm amazed he hasn't lost more than just a chunk of his ear. He's not a particularly big leopard, I don't think. But he's certainly got chutzpah, as they say. They probably don't, but some people do. Leopards definitely don't say chutzpah. Okay, I've had rather too much action for the moment, and so we're going to go back to Trishana, so my heart can calm down and I can take a breather.
You shouldn't really be calling that close to where she's keeping the cubs. So maybe, like I say, maybe it's Tingana and I just didn't hear well with my earpiece and beanie on. All right, let's get one last view of these ground hornbills. They're already running away from us. These guys are little scaredy cats this morning. They don't want to be seen. So while we watch these little bottoms... Oh, there goes a leopard. A leopard. Do you see that? A leopard chased the ground hornbill. No ways. That's ridiculous. That's crazy. No ways. That's crazy. What just happened? Thandi, what are you doing? That's ridiculous. But hello, girl. Yes. PK. That's amazing. Never in my life have I ever seen a ground hornbill being chased by a leopard. And I promise you right now, we were watching the ground hornbills before you guys came to us. And I was like, I'm sure that leopards hunt these guys, but I've never seen it. I wonder why they don't hunt them. And look at that. That's amazing. Imagine if she had grabbed it, how crazy that would have been. A lot of blood. Just have a listen, everybody. Well done. For that little knob there. Oh, she's done it. Oh, good girl. I think she's waiting for warthogs. There we go. There, she's got it. She's got it. You see, she was scared. So she didn't get a good hold on it, and she was worried about those tusks.
That if there is a chance this antelope going into a thicket, and then she was going to approach them, but doing that also, kill, drop her, kill. So for all viewers, it's very sensitive sighting we're going to witness now. As you see the caught, she looks like she caught in a scrap hair. So for the young and the sensitive viewer, so this question is that we're going to watch her feed right now. So sorry about it.
Indeed we do. The grumpy princess and her delinquent child are together, which is cool. We've managed to find them. I don't know how long we're going to have them for, but it's at least going to be somewhat of a view. Here comes delinquent child, as you can see, full of beans this morning. Reeps. what are you up to? They both look fairly full too, so I think they potentially were on kills during the windy part. She is not happy with him today. Are you going to come play with us instead? Hello, boy. It's good to see you. I haven't seen you in 2 weeks, and it feels like forever. I wonder if she's going to lead him to a kill. Isn't that awesome? I was hoping we'd find them, and the luck that we've got to have found them where we are right now is very, very, very much a special thing, because oh my goodness, he is full of it this morning. If we go 200 meters behind me, we start to lose signal quite quickly. It becomes much, much harder to actually kind of spend any time with them, but at least now we are in a good spot. We're right near the mast, so we are okay where we are. It is amazing how playful he is this morning. He is bumbling and jumping and just generally being, like I say, a little bit of a delinquent at this stage. The nice thing is that we do have permission to off-road a little bit on these crest areas, so we can follow her in this little section, not too far, but we can go a little bit with her, so that's good news. We at least won't lose visual any time soon. So let me just turn. We can try and see where they go. Looks like they're heading down towards the dam, which is quite interesting because there's not much down there. Surf 50, it is very cool to see these two. They are, as you know, I mean, Thandi is my favorite of the girls, and so she and combined with this little male who's so boisterous and full of beans, are always an absolute treat to spend time with. The nice thing is also the ground here is nice and hard, so we're all good. There's a beautiful mound coming up. Let's see if he goes on top of the mound for us. Looks like he's going to. Maybe let's... Look. How beautiful is that? The two of them together. That's as good as it gets, that's for sure. I think they might be going to a kill. I don't know why I have this feeling. The way that she's walking and tolerating him being a nonsense is typical of her behavior when she's taking him to a kill. And this area that we're in now is a great place for her to hunt. Just checking all the trees as we go in case. I was actually scanning all of these trees as we were driving, hoping that one of them would be here. From their tracks yesterday, they had to be in this section. Morgan, they are almost the same size, and yes, he is still a cub. He's not even a year old yet. So he's still growing. I normally say once they reach sort of a year old, then they start to move into sub-adult phase and away from cub. That's just generally how I kind of see it. It's not to say that that's exactly how it is, but I suppose cub is starting to become a little bit of a silly word for him. He is definitely getting really big now. He's not quite her size just yet, but not far off. The two of them, obviously she won't grow much more or at all, but he's still going to be a lot bigger by the time he leaves mom. I'm so stoked that we managed to find them. And especially because he's playful, it's even better that he's full of beans this morning. That just makes my day whenever I see him as playful as he is. She, on the other hand, does not look that happy with life this morning. I think she's been jumped on, pounced on, smacked in the face, rubbed up on more than she, as you can see by that, more than she wants to deal with. So I'm not sure Thandi's in the best mood at the moment, but she'll be all right. She'll deal with it. It's part and parcel of having a single child. If there's two cubs, then, you know, the cubs generally entertain themselves, but when there's only one, it becomes a lot harder to deal with. Just gonna go around. They're on the wrong side of the light now for us, but it's okay. We'll get back to where they are. The good news is I'm just checking as I'm driving every now and then to see if we, getting any sort of soft patches. But so far, all is okay, and everything is quite hard. Now, where did they? There they are there. Just want to see where they. There's a nice big tree here. There's some impalas coming up in front. So if they haven't got a kill, maybe this is what they'll start to stalk. Just trying to see go through these thickets. It's not an easy area, this, to negotiate. It's still coming quite fast. Wherever they're going, she's on a serious mission. I actually just want to get into the little thicket here so that you can see her. Okay, so she's at the tree, this big tall tree to my left. She's at the bottom of that, or both of them actually are. Alright, well, we're going to see where they go. Hopefully they'll have something hidden around these thickets, or we'll start to hunt. We're still following our leopards. The little boy, Marips, is causing absolute panic in a herd of impalas. He's walking right up to them and just generally terrorizing them, as you can see by them all running away. I mean, he's got no chance in actually catching one like this, but he's just causing havoc and is being a young leopard who wants to play, basically. You can see, just make out him and then the impalas running around in front of him. Silly boy. This is all part of learning, though. Let me go forward, though, so we can get a better view of him as he's doing this. Debbie, how long until he goes off on his own? Depends on Thandi, a lot of it. But probably you're looking at about anywhere between 4, maybe 4 is a little bit light, 6 to 8 months, I would say, is going to be his sort of time frame. This is very cool shots. Look at him. He's being a little terrorist. You silly boy, what are you doing? I think he just wants to be friends, and no one wants to be friends with him. This is not how you hunt, boy. But like I say, it's valuable lessons. He's learning all the time. Every time he does stuff like this and messes around with impalas, he starts to understand where they move and how they move. And eventually, that will all become something that he will be able to do himself, and he'll be able to hunt and kill. And you can see he's a bit bewildered in his face as to how this all works. Mom is watching over him and now calling him as if to say, stop messing around there, you're causing this commotion. Come back to where I am. She's watching over him nicely, though. She's sitting on a little fallen over log next to me, just having a little kind of watch and make sure that her son doesn't get himself into too much of trouble. Here she comes. Just listen. You might hear her little chuffs. Look, she'll go up onto the stump so she can watch him. There we go. So she's up on the stump there just to make sure she can see him. Leanne, I'm sure he does. Marips is probably loving every minute of being an absolute hooligan and trying to chase these guys around, whereas Mom is not impressed. She's calling and saying, listen, buddy, you can stop that nonsense now because you're causing a whole bunch of alarm calls, which attracts attention. You can see she's getting annoyed with him because he's not listening to her. Now she's going to go and fetch him and tell him to stop his nonsense. What a cool sighting this has been. I love it when leopards are like this. It makes the days when we don't see them that much better, when we actually eventually do find them and get to spend quality time like us, and there's a bit of chaos that reigns because of a young male leopard who just wants to be friends with everyone. All right, let me catch up with them. problem here is it becomes quite tricky in places to actually see them if they go into the grass. So let's rather sort of try and see where he is. The one thing that could happen here is, you know, Thandi's moving around, and in the chaos of him chasing other impalas, it's possible one of these impalas just runs straight into her. If they do, she will definitely bring it down. I don't think he's got any chance whatsoever. He's just off on my left. There was one impala actually caught between the two of them. There we go. Here he comes. Watch this. I'm sure he's going to come and rub up on Mom. Oh, look at that. Isn't that sweet? And a typical Thandi grin when he comes and meets her, but you can see she's still a caring mom, because as he was moving away, she came to fetch him. She was moving the complete opposite direction. No, the wildebeest is too big for you, boy. You can't chase the wildebeest. That face is just a face of naughtiness. Indeed, they do. They've got a wildebeest and a leopard to worry about. But in this case, if it wasn't for the wildebeest, the impalas might have had a problem. And I'll tell you why. They were stalking up, well, not stalking, they were walking, but they were behind a very dense thicket. And it was the wildebeest that spotted them first. And he alarm called, and then the impala saw them. But you can see all this noise that's being made. Here comes a hyena now to come and investigate what's going on. So straight ahead of the leopards, coming down this path, is a hyena. Now look at Thandi's reaction. She'll walk in front of her son and just make sure that she keeps an eye out on that hyena. The hyena's probably coming here because when impalas alarm call for this long and this intensely, normally it's when one has been killed. In this case, it's not that, because we know it's obviously just the cub playing. But when you get this intensity of vocalization, often it's to do with kills, and that's why this hyena will have come here. All right, let's go around, because there's going to be some beautiful light and a beautiful view of them on a mound. Hopefully she stays up there, because it's perfect. Two of them are up. He's come down already, but she's still up there. How's that for perfect? Look how she's watching that hyena. She's just making sure that hyena is not coming too close to her little one. Luke, the little youngest leopard I've seen make a kill was Tiani at 4 months old. Salesh, so I don't know if it's a full kill, if we can count it as a full kill, but Salesh made a little duiker kill, or she grabbed a duiker and then let it go, and Tiani was the one that actually came and grabbed it, and was the one that strangled it and kind of actually killed it. So I don't know, does that count? I think it does. So she would be the youngest by far. But on their own, without any assistance from mom, probably about... I mean, what do we constitute as a kill? Does a lizard count as a kill? Does a tortoise? Does a monitor? You know, frogs, birds? Full-sized impalas, I think the youngest I've seen is about a year-old. So a couple months, well, a month for this little guy, and he'll be about the age. Look,
We're going to get the two of them on top together, I think, because he looks like he's going to come up to Mom. Isn't that special? Big termite mound, beautiful blue kind of sky with clouds and greenery in the background. That's about as good as it gets, and two leopards on top of it. It's a very, very special sight, that. He's watching the hyena. We know he likes to mess around with hyenas a little bit. Look at that. Let's just move slightly. Just try and get around them so we can get their faces a little bit better. Don't want to go too far around because otherwise we lose the light a little bit. But that's a bit better, isn't it? I think so. I think we're winning. Oh, bless you. She is not happy with him at all. It's quite funny to see how grumpy she gets with him. And I'm not surprised given his boisterousness and how she gets whacked in the face every few minutes. You know, it's very much an irritation, I would imagine, for a leopard like Thandi. You know, she's a cat that doesn't always like to have a lot of attention on her, whether it be vehicles, and she's always been like this with her cubs. She's always been a little on the sort of grumpy side when it comes to their behavior. You can see those tails going. What a special sighting this is. I love that she's as grumpy as she's being right now. Makes me laugh. And also we can be glad that they're on this particular mound right now. Also the reason why she's the way that she is because she doesn't want to come down and not be able to see where this hyena is. You see how she's watching because her cub is now coming down towards the hyenas, which is not surprising given how he is. I know the other day when they want to kill here, he was chasing hyenas around, which is what he seems like he's going to be doing now. But he's going to learn very valuable lessons very quickly, that hyenas are not going to take kindly to his shenanigans and will chase him back, although this hyena is giving away to him. Interesting. I didn't expect him to have enough sort of oomph to be able to chase hyena or to make hyena feel intimidated. I think the hyena's realized that there's no food here, and so that's why it's moving off. And he's kind of following. Mom is not going to be impressed at all. She's eventually going to start probably following and making sure that she keeps up with where he is. Jackson, yes, most definitely she would intervene if he gets into trouble. She would go and try and defend him. Ultimately, though, he's of the size now that if a hyena was to try and chase, he would be able to go up into the tree, which would be good for her. She wouldn't have to do too much. But if a hyena hypothetically got near him, she would most certainly run straight towards where that hyena is and would do something about it. She wouldn't let her little boy get hurt without actually making
sure that she sorts it out. Oh, she looks beautiful today. She's such a pretty cat. It's part of the reason why I enjoy spending so much time with her, is that not only is she, this incredible mom, and she's lived quite a long life now, and has been successful at raising all these cubs, but it's the fact that she's a pretty leopard as well. I mean, she's starting to show a little bit of her age now. Her ears are starting to get a little bit tatty, and she's not as kind of youthful as she once was, but she's still got a very cute little face. I always have enjoyed what Thandi looks like, and she's provided me with probably more than most leopards have. I've been absolutely spoilt in my time with her. I've seen pretty much all of her cubs, and I've seen, particularly in the last little bit, being the first one to kind of spend time with Lalamba, the first to find her next litter. It's been kind of a nice sort of time spent with her, and for all the kind of faults that she has, and that she can be a little bit on the grumpy side at times, she really is a special cat, and I have all the time in the world for her. Like I say, if I can spend every day with her, I would be happy. It wouldn't faze me in the slightest. Alright, so I will sit with these two as long as we can. In the meantime, let's send you back across to sea with something beautiful to show you. We're still with Thandi and the cub. She's still posing beautifully. He's just being, well, him. He's bounding around all over the show, can't sit still for more than 2 seconds, irritates her, then goes down and chases impalas around and lies on stumps, and generally just has ants in his pants, which is pretty typical of him and his age group. Most leopards of that age, irrespective of male or female, are pretty playful, but males particularly tend to be quite boisterous when they reach this sort of age group. So I suspect that he won't sit still for long. He keeps kind of looking at Mom from where he's sitting. He's at the base of the mountain. He's going to come up back to her now, which will be cool. Let's just keep quiet and listen if we can hear anything. Fortunately, the car ruined my sound experiment to see if she was going to talk to him or not. There is also a male lion that's roaring very close. It doesn't sound like he's far at all, maybe just on the other side of Chitwa Dam. She doesn't seem to be too perturbed by it at this stage, but there's definitely a lion around in the area as well. It's come closer since we first heard it down at the dam, when we were kind of looking at the birds and the hippos. It's definitely moving towards Chitwa rather than away from. And is 100% a leopard can hunt at night. In fact, they're actually more suited to hunting in low light conditions. You see those two eyes that are kind of positioned in the front of the head. That's all for judging of distance, obviously, so that doesn't matter whether it's day or night, but they have what we don't have. So in our eyes, we've got two cells, rods and cones. Leopards are the same. They also have rods and cones in their eyes. But basically, cones are color cells, rods are light cells. Now, in our eyes, we have quite a good balance between them, which means that we get an incredible amount of color perception, but very poor low light sight. So, at night, obviously, we can't see anything. Whereas with a leopard, they've sacrificed a lot of their color vision to be able to see in the dark. So they have a lot more rod cells, and that means that they are able to see even in fairly dark conditions, which is pretty cool. This is amazing. So enjoying these two this morning. The tails, though, are my favorite. It's so expressive in a leopard. So that, coupled with that, they've got whiskers, an incredible sense of smell means that at night they are able to start seeing a lot better than a lot of the prey animals, and then they come into their own. These two together are an absolute treat. Well, yes. I mean, they won't know exactly, okay, there's a leopard, but this lion probably can hear these alarm calls. And so from that, it will start to come into this area to investigate. It knows when they're shouting like this for long periods that there's a possibility of food. So they'll know that, or if they hear a leopard calling, or they, those kinds of things will all indicate. They don't pay much attention to like scent mark or tracks of a leopard unless it's very, very fresh and there's a drag mark or something like that. Then you'll find that lions will start to pay attention, but otherwise they really aren't too interested in what leopards get up to. It's only when there's a potential for food do they start to pay attention. And in this case, when there's lots of alarm calls like this, it can attract lions to the area and they can arrive. If lions were to arrive right now, what you'll find is these leopards will go straight up into trees if the lion gets too close, and they'll get to the top branches where a lion won't be able to reach. And the lion will then sniff around, look around, and if it can't find a carcass in the trees, often they then just walk off, or they flop down close by, and the leopard unfortunately has to stay up the tree for the rest of the day and wait it out. Oh, look at the symmetry in that, though, of the two of them, kind of in opposite ways. So cool. He is naughty. He's not giving her a break between pulling her tail on her head, various other things that he's been getting up to. He's been naughty. Oliver can be, not always. It really just depends on what actually happens. But yes, they can be fatal. If two leopards come to blows and there is, some sort of claw tooth that goes into the wrong place, they can kill one another. It's normally not a common thing when it comes to, leopards fighting. Generally, it's a brief encounter and then they kind of move and leave each other alone. But it can happen, particularly with big male leopards on younger individuals. That is something that does happen. Whenever leopards come together, you don't want them to fight. Lion leopard, obviously, lions are so much bigger, so much heavier, that there really isn't much of a competition there at all. He's going to bound on her again. Look, he's a naughty face, this little one, and seems as though he's bored. So Mom, I'm sure, is going to get some semblance of irritation at some point again. It's not going to be a restful morning for her for now, until such time as she gets irritated enough that she then leaves and goes and does her own thing. Now he's disappeared off. Now he's heading back towards the impalas. She's just still watching, being a good mom. Basically, she's allowing him to do what he wants and play and live a sort of carefree life. In the meantime, though, she's watching, she's looking, she's making sure that nothing is happening around that could potentially endanger him. Alright, well, we'll stay with the two of them and let's see what happens. In the meantime, let's send you to Steve, who's gone to a waterhole. Well, we are still with our spots, and we've had quite possibly one of my favorite Thandi sightings I have ever had. These two have been playing like nobody's business on this tree. There's been grabbing, there's been tails, there's been all kinds of things. Look at this, and it's just ridiculous what's happening at the moment. this little cub has been an absolute treat. He keeps jumping on mom and keeps making her life incredibly difficult. Like I say, he grabs her tail, he pulls at it, and it's almost like she's wanting to kind of, I don't know, maybe teach him a little bit because she's engaging with it. Look, there we go. Isn't this cool? The two of them have been like this for a long time now. They've both been messing around, grabbing each other's tails, and just generally going crazy. It's been such a cool sighting. Oh, there we go. And they've, like I say, been up and down the tree stump. Well, him more so than her. She's kind of been just sitting, watching out, but he has been all over the place. He's fallen out the tree twice. And like I say, he keeps grabbing her tail and kind of pulling on it, which makes her angry, and then she snarls at him, and then he jumps out the tree, and then he's back up again. It's just been the most wonderful sighting in terms of a playfulness between the two of them. They might pop up onto this mound again, so because of that, I'm just going to go back slightly. I don't want to be this close if they do pop up. It'll be... I can't even see them right now. I suspect, though, that they will pop up onto this mound at some point. The two of them are playing so much at the moment that it's going to be a situation where one of them is going to make some sort of a move at some stage. They're going to not kind of sit still for very long. Thandi might lie down, but Marips will definitely not. There she goes. She's back up on her log. I don't think it will be long, and he will be with her on top there as well. Alright, well, we'll sit with these guys for as long as we possibly can this morning because it is the most joyful sighting. In the meantime, though, let's send you across to Trish with the wild dogs. Indeed, we do have spots. We have our little rubbish that's just walked past us, and Mom's still going, "Yes, Thandi, I know you're upset with your cub harassing you, but it's okay." There's also a buffalo behind us, which is something I haven't seen in ages. A lone bull buffalo is not something we get to see a lot of these days. It's like either a herd or nothing. I wonder what his reaction will be to these guys. They sometimes can be quite cantankerous, can buffaloes. It'll be interesting to see. I also wonder how many times this little one has seen buffalo. Not huge amounts of buffalo hanging around in the areas that he's spent his life so far. I wonder how interested he would be. He doesn't seem to be too interested at all. Where are they going, though? I don't understand. She's going back to the original direction that we were heading when we first found them this morning, before he got out of control and started chasing impalas all over the place. So I don't really know where they're off to. This is the furthest kind of southwest on Chitwa that I've seen them. I mean, they're going to basically the dam wall and behind, which is where pretty much Sibuya and the cubs have spent a lot of their time. So it's interesting to me that she's spending time here. I wouldn't have expected her to be in this general area. I would have expected her to be a lot more kind of to the north and the west, east of where we are right now. Anyway, let's follow her and see where she is going. Maybe there's a kill that she's made. You know, often when they're on their own little missions, they can sometimes come across things and make a kill in an area that's not quite where they normally hang out. It's possible. We're just going to be a little bit careful because we're quite low on the slope now. And so I don't want to cause any damage or ruts or anything like that. It looks all right for now. It's quite a sandy clearing this. It's not very kind of black cottony. So we should be okay. It's there in that corner where the jackalberry is, where the termite mound, that gets very, very damp very quickly. You just need to watch out on that side. I don't think they're going to stay here, though. I mean, I expect that she's marching to go somewhere to go and lie down in the shade if she doesn't have a kill. But the way that she's moving just strikes me as almost like a kill. And I think the reason we saw her sitting on that termite mound for as long as she did was to... Let's just go back. There's a termite mound right here that she might come on to. They're just on our left-hand side. It's difficult to see them in these wealth areas, but they are just here. I wonder if she just didn't stay on that termite mound because of all the commotion. She didn't want to go to wherever she wanted to lead this cub while there was that hyena around and the noise of that lion. She wants to just wait and see. And so once she checked that the coast was clear, no hyena was following her, because she keeps going up and looking around just to check.
then I think she's going to kind of lead him in the direction that she wants to take him. This is the original path that she was on, is where we are right now, is originally where she was heading towards. So she's definitely got an idea in mind about where she's going. And if this little one stops jumping all over her, she'll probably get there at some point. It's been so cool to watch the two of them. You know, she's, like I say, she's not the most patient of mothers. She definitely loses her temper pretty quickly. But this morning, she's actively engaged with this cub a lot more than I've seen her in the past. You know, she has snarled and hissed and done her normal thing, but at the same time, she's groomed him a lot and looked after him and kind of played a little bit with him. So it's been an interesting sighting in many respects from that point of view. All right, we'll stay, like I say, with them now as far as I can. Once they go down towards the back of Chitwa Dam, or if they go over, I can't follow anymore. In the meantime, though, let's send you across to Nick, who's sitting at a dam himself. Well, as you can see, this is the last view we're going to get of Thandi and the cub. They're going into an inaccessible spot now. No matter how much we try, we won't be able to get anywhere near there. It's completely flooded this section. And the games have not stopped either. It really has been one of the most magical mornings with these two. I had the best time. They've played since the moment we found them and are still playing now. I don't know where she's taking him or why she's taking him into this area. I mean, it's possible, I suppose, that she just wants to hide him out in this drainage line, but it's so flooded, I don't understand why she would bring him into this wet section and not towards those rocks that he's used so much before. I don't know, maybe she's got something in this area that's also possible, given, you know, the way that she's walking kind of into a certain direction. She keeps looking and scanning around as though she doesn't want anything to follow her. So maybe there's something here, I don't know, it's tricky to say, but there is 0.000 chance of us getting anywhere near where she's heading now. We could maybe go a little bit further forward, but even then I doubt it. Alright, well, we're going to carry on. We'll leave these two to it. I mean, we've been absolutely spoiled this morning. Meantime, let's send you across to Territorial, who seems like she's being spoiled too, and has a surprise for all of you. What have you seen, Thandi? Are you going to go hunt again? She is too. This will be your third time today. Don't be greedy. You have a whole kudu. She spotted something right here. Whatever it is, I mean, must be worth for her to go after. And now, just like that, she's just killed a scrub hare. But why, girl? How crazy is that speed? Amazing. Thandi, that's not good. You've got a meal. You didn't have to kill the scrub hare. So I'm sorry for those of you that are squeamish. You can see the scrub hare, unfortunately, is going to be alive, but not for much longer. I just want to let the guys know that she just made a kill. Once we get away from this little mud wallow system, it becomes very tricky. So I'm just going to try and go the line that I think those hyenas were making a noise at. You got the hyenas. Excellent. Well done. They're feeding as well. Well done. It looks like they're feeding. Wouldn't be surprised there's a leopard here somewhere. Jeez, that wasn't bad. My ears aren't all that bad. Right close to the mud wallow is where they're at. But there we are. Leopard in a tree as well. Yes. The hyenas have unfortunately stolen the kill, but we'll go get the leopard in a tree so long. Yay. That's tracking with a vehicle 101, that, but not easy to do sometimes and doesn't always work. But there we go. Sorry, my girl, did you lose your kill? Oh no. Looks like Thandi. I'm pretty sure it's Thandi. Hello, my girl. Shame. Did your kill get taken? There we go. Unfortunately, the life of a leopard. Kills get stolen, and they sit in the tree and watch
as their kills are eaten. It's not very pleasant, but it happens. You know, it's the way things go. You know, this is not the first time for her, nor will it be the last time, I'm afraid. I don't know what it is that they're eating. We'll go to them just now. I just wanted to get her in case. I know her sometimes once the hyenas are feeding, because they just stole it. When you hear that noise is when they've just stolen it. Then you know straight away that, you know, she could easily just kind of see them feeding and then decide, oh, I'm done, and just come down and slink off. We know that she's left Marips inside Torchwood, so it's very possible that she'll go kind of back that direction. So while she's just sitting there, now that we know where she is and she's napping, which is good, let's just quickly go see what these hyenas are eating. I also need to let the other guys know that I've found her, because they're obviously in the area. Finnerty, come in. He's exploring, he's up and down, he climbed a tree just now. What's he got? He's got something, he's caught something. He's just got something. A monitor lizard, look. Look at the size of the monitor lizard he just caught. How crazy is that? Oh no. That's ridiculous. Hold on, let's just get a bit closer, Morgan. Because the two of them are doing it together, which is you don't ever hear of, is when leopards hunt. Look, they're fighting over it. Look, he's away from him, and she's running with it. That's ridiculous. How cool is that?
Yeah, the growling. Look. Now Thandi's got the carcass. Oh, she's reclaimed it. She's reclaimed it. And up she goes. What a flipping partnership. That is crazy. And there goes Marips. Oh, this hyena has been completely outwitted.